At one point the biggest star in the UFC with the most hype, now barely has any hype whatsoever coming up for his fight at UFC 308. It's a great fight, but for most people there's no real interviews, nothing really building up to the fight. So I've decided upon myself that I'm gonna remind everyone that hasn't seen Khamzat Chimaev for over a year now, of what he's all about. I'm gonna go break down some of his best fights, his best finishes, and his best performances. We'll start off with the Gerald Meerschart fight, since it's the quickest one to get through. The fight starts, Khamzat Chimaev goes towards Gerald Meerschart. Gerald, he throws a body kick immediately. So the reason Khamzat Chimaev does this is so in case his opponent throws a body kick back, because you know how opponents are sometimes. They take a body kick, they will have to fire one back to just get it even up. You know what I mean? He usually does this to go for takedowns, because the other person extends their leg and then he immediately shoots a double leg takedown. In this scenario, Gerald Meerschart plays it more hesitant and safe, backs off further on, backs up against the cage, and this is where the infamous doinking happens of Gerald Meerschart and his career. The one-punch KO that knocks out Gerald Meerschart clean out cold. The highlight of his career, sadly, and that's probably what he's remembered for most. Like, Gerald Meerschart's the guy that Khamzat Chimaev knocked out, you know what I mean? That's his thing. He's one of the unranked kings of the middleweight division, but that's his thing, you know, like, forever he's engraved in UFC history as the guy that got knocked out. Now we're going to move on to Jingliang immediately on. The fight starts, a different fight this time. This time Khamzat Chimaev was fighting a ranked 11 fighter in the division. This was meant to be a big step up for him, but realistically everyone knew it wasn't really, because Jingliang doesn't have the best takedown defense ever. But anyway, the fight starts, Khamzat Chimaev immediately shoots a takedown, and here's the thing with Khamzat Chimaev's takedowns. He will shoot from a fair distance and dive for your legs in hopes of getting a single leg, because he has really good transitions from single legs to double legs to taking your back to anything. He'll push you against the cage, do whatever he wants with you. So here he shoots. For some reason, Jingliang decides to go for an overhand, the dumbest thing you can do when you're fighting someone who's a heavy grappler. For some reason, people seem to think that the quicker they can knock the other person out, the better chance they have of winning the fight. It makes sense in practice. In theory, you're like, okay, if he gets to my legs, I'm done for, so let's go for a knockout. In this case, and in most cases when you're fighting a heavy grappler, this stuff tends to happen. The grappler immediately ducks down, goes for a double leg, gets a single leg, sorry. Jingliang doing a good job balancing on his one foot. Chimaev, as you'll see is a pattern of his, will immediately go for the back. No matter where he is, what he's doing, he'll always want to take the back so he can get his hooks in. Picks him up, takes him to Dana White's corner, or his corner, or Dana White's corner, I think, and has a chat with him. Dumps him down, gets one hook, threatens, isolates a leg. As you can see, he's isolating the left leg of Jingliang to hinder his movement and ability to get back up on his feet. Jingliang pushes against the cage, but Khamzat Chimaev is dominantly controlling his back. Again, now Khamzat Chimaev is still isolating the leg, transitions to the front of Jingliang, is throwing some strikes, Jingliang trying to get back up, pushing himself up using the cage. But Khamzat Chimaev definitely wants the back, and you'll see in a minute how he goes on to take it. As you can see, he keeps putting the pressure on Jingliang while isolating the foot. It's a pixelated picture, I know, but this is what he does. Continues on, throws strikes, sort of flattens him out, continues to throw some strikes. Again, is controlling the back. He doesn't want a different position. He wants the back of Jingliang. He knows it's the best position where he can land strikes and open up Jingliang's chin up. Because as Jingliang focuses on the striking, is defending himself here and there, Khamzat Chimaev will immediately snatch up the rear naked choke and tap him out. Has his back in this situation, controlling his wrist so Jingliang can't utilize it. Continues to control his back, isolating the leg still to hinder Jingliang's ability to get back up on his feet. Isolating the leg still, again, the same thing over and over again, just grinding him out until he finds an opening to get his to take the back of Jingliang properly and get his hooks in. Again, in the same position as he was in earlier, isolating the leg, throwing strikes to Jingliang. Finally gets to his back, and the way he does it is he actually finds a squeeze in between the cage and Jingliang to take his back. Again, still isolating the leg of Jingliang to hinder his movement to get back on his feet. Now he's flattened him out, which opens up openings for striking, ground and pound, which opens up, again, once again, you've guessed it correctly, the rear naked choke. That's what he's going for. And realistically, in the position that Khamzat Chimaev is right now, he could either get a TKO, because you know the referees are like, you land too many shots and Jingliang can't get back onto his feet, the ref will stop it. Even if the damage isn't substantial enough, the ref will stop the fight. Smart thinking from Khamzat Chimaev. Jingliang, not the greatest leap in competition in terms of takedown defense, but a leap nonetheless. Again, grounding him out, pounding him out, ground and pound, continues. The ref, as I was talking about before, is asking Li Jingliang, defend yourself, defend yourself. In this situation, Li Jingliang has no choice but to potentially try to flip up, continue, flattened out completely in this situation, landing more shots. Smart. You don't have to knock the other person out for the referee to come in and be like, okay, you weren't intelligently defending yourself, I'm gonna stop the fight. Khamzat Chimaev being smart here. Now, eventually he opens up Li Jingliang enough to the point where he gets his arm underneath his chin. He's controlling his neck, but he doesn't have the rear naked choke correctly right now. As you can see from his hand positioning, he's holding onto his wrist as opposed to having his wrist tucked in under his other arm. So what Khamzat Chimaev does in this situation is, so what you do in those situations, you can quickly switch your grip and attack with your other hand. In that situation, Li Jingliang is clearly holding onto one of the arms that's already threatening his his neck. The switch will take Li Jingliang's arm distracted and get the other arm underneath his chin. In the scuffle, goes for it, gets it, does the exact thing I said. Switches again when he realizes Li Jingliang doesn't have it. His body isn't actually on the right. His body isn't correctly positioned right now in this because he's pushed up against the cage to get a tight squeeze on Li Jingliang. Switches his leg again, has all the room in the world, squeezes, has enough freedom to move his arm however he likes, gets the choke, Li Jingliang passes out. And that was Li Jingliang dead. Kevin Holland now. Kevin Holland fight, another heavy grappling fight. Keep in mind, so far, Khamzat Chimaev has taken 0 strikes, I believe. 0 strikes have been landed on him so far, and that trend continues right here. The fight starts, again, Khamzat Chimaev with his wide takedowns. Maybe you might be thinking it's not that wide because his foot is so close to Kevin Holland, but just the position he's in, Khamzat Chimaev is clearly going for a, he just wants a single leg. He knows that's all he needs on Kevin Holland, and that's exactly what he's going for. A little bit dirty here because Kevin Holland was going for like a hand tap that fighters go for at the start of each round. In this case, Khamzat Chimaev just says, fuck it, I'll be dirty. Everyone hates me anyway. This is the fight where he missed weight. This was a short notice, 1 day notice fight. Goes for the takedown, single leg, as I said before. Has his other arm around the hip of Kevin Holland though. Now he spins around with Kevin Holland, takes him down, makes him lose his balance. Khamzat Chimaev, I would also like to mention, is insanely strong. As you saw from the Li Jingliang fight, where he just picked him up and walked over to Dana White with him. Kevin Holland does a good job of getting back to his feet up immediately, doing Granby rolls, you know, doing whatever he can to like make Khamzat Chimaev lose his grip. But Khamzat Chimaev is insanely strong. Khamzat Chimaev, and flexible by the way. Khamzat Chimaev flips with him to maintain his hold on to Kevin Holland. They both get back up on their feet, and Khamzat Chimaev still has a hold of Kevin Holland's hips. Even in a better position now, and he's about to take his back. Kevin Holland spins around, pushes Khamzat Chimaev against the cage. Khamzat Chimaev continues to attack, goes for a judo throw onto Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland is doing whatever he can to stay on his feet. It's like a cartoon movie right now. Like, you know, one of those black and white movies, like the comedies they do with like Charlie Chaplin, where he's just like, like moving his feet around. That's Kevin Holland in this fight. Gets his back again, spins around, dumps him on the ground. Kevin Holland does try to roll from this, but Khamzat Chimaev is so strong, he just pulls him back down. So Kevin Holland goes to spin. Khamzat Chimaev says, no, 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 and just pulls him right back down. Again, Khamzat Chimaev goes for the back again. It's his favorite position. That's where he wants to be. That's where he's most dominant. He can strike, he can submit you, he can do whatever he wants from that position. Now he's on top of Kevin Holland since the gap between Kevin Holland's back and the cage and the floor is just not... It's a three-dimensional world we live in. This is not 4D. Khamzat Chimaev can't squeeze in there. We continue on, controlling Kevin Holland. Kevin Holland throwing up his legs, looking to threaten submissions. Not sure what he was going for here. Probably just flailing his legs to like look for anything that he can find. Again, a full guard. Khamzat Chimaev just stands up, goes down, pushes Kevin Holland's legs behind him, gets out of it. Kevin Holland still trying to roll through these weird positions. Gets to his feet. In all fairness, this is a blurry picture. Has his back, continues to take Kevin Holland's back. Kevin Holland spinning some more. Another one of those situations where Kevin Holland did try to spin out of that, but Khamzat Chimaev just said, no, 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 come back down, and just pulled him right back down. Just stopped him mid-spin. Insanely strong for the division he was at the welterweight. And then he goes for a Das choke. Kind of has it in. Not really, though. Doesn't have it in. Doesn't have the right position for it. Then he pulls. He could get the right position for it, but doesn't. Kevin Holland is fighting it. He's trying to roll. He's doing everything he can. But then eventually, Khamzat Chimaev gets the neck of Kevin Holland, gets his legs, traps it, puts more pressure on his neck, And that's all she wrote for the most part. I believe Kevin Holland ends up tapping out from this. Any second now, he will tap out. I think this is where he taps out. It's not. He got out of it. That's crazy. I'm misremembering. It took me a while to make these slides. Anyway, Kevin Holland gets out, but at this point, Khamzat Chimaev just locks it right back in. Gets a tighter squeeze this time and finishes him off. After some more struggle, Kevin Holland... I don't remember it being that much of a struggle. That's crazy. Shout out Kevin Holland for this... What am I watching? Apparently Kevin Holland still survives at this point. I completely forgotten what happened here. Now he taps out, I believe. This is the one. This is the one. Yep. This is where he has the most pressure in. Gets his legs around Kevin Holland. Gets the tight squeeze. And that's the end of Kevin Holland. Moving along to Kumaru Usman. So far I'm showing you guys Khamzat Chimaev destroying fighters that he should destroy with a wrestling disadvantage, not high level. Well, they are high level, but you know what I mean. Like, the wrestling isn't high level enough. Like, their striking is really good, but Khamzat Chimaev ain't going to be striking with you if your striking is really good. You know what I mean? He'll shoot immediately. No danger to him that way. And let's start with Kumaru Usman. This was his biggest, like, the toughest opponent so far. And he starts off with with teep kicks. Now, like I said before, Khamzat Chimaev will throw kicks at his opponents in hopes they fire kicks right back at him, so he can shoot the double legs. Probably not the teep kick, but more like body shots with like a wider base for him to grab onto and push them down. You know what I mean? Another thing with Khamzat Chimaev, we haven't seen any of his striking, so I'll bring it up when we see his striking in a little bit. But he has this thing where every time he throws like some of his shots, he will slip his head to the left. So to get himself away from the center line, and then he can follow up with a right hand right afterwards as well. Kumaru Usman fires back a teep kick after Khamzat starts off with one. Khamzat Chimaev, again, the body shot. Like I said, he always fires these early on in the fight, hoping his opponent fires them back, or goes for an overhand thing, you know, try to get one back on him after he's given them heavy damage. Kumaru Usman just staying in striking range, or not even striking range, staying in a distance from Khamzat Chimaev in this situation. Khamzat Chimaev, from a distance, on Kumaru Usman, he had been taken down one time in his UFC career so far. From a distance, Kumaru Usman has time, not the fastest reactions when it comes to getting underhooks, but goes for the single leg, gets stuffed, honestly. Like, he gets a hold of Kamaru's leg, but for the most part, Kumaru Usman against anyone else would easily be able to get out of this position. Doesn't fool Khamzat though. Khamzat Chimaev gets the hold onto the leg, tries to make Kumaru lose balance. I do think he succeeds here. Yep, he gives him a little trip. Kumaru Usman's down. Khamzat has a hold of Usman's legs. Simple geometry. Continues on, takes the back of Kumaru Usman. Again, like I said, his favorite position. Take the back of his opponent, control them from there, threaten the submissions, do some damage. Maybe stomp in the foot, maybe give him some knees to the thighs. You know what I mean? A vast array of things he can do in this situation, like signature moves that all wrestlers do in the UFC. Continuing on, Kumaru Usman fighting it. Khamzat Chimaev, as you can see, is isolating the leg again. Has both of his legs around one of Kumaru's legs, making it really hard for him to get back onto his base, push up, stand up on his feet. Isolates the leg further. Kumaru's on one knee. Has the back of Kumaru, just controlling him there. Now, finally, after a while, when Kumaru has finally... he's gotten Kumaru down to his knees, goes for a hook, tries to take the back of Kumaru Usman, succeeds, and eventually starts pounding him. Like I said, in these positions, Khamzat Chimaev is really good at just pounding on fighters and threatening a submission this way, because the fighters know if they try to stand back up on their feet, they're leaving the neck somewhat open enough for Khamzat Chimaev to lock something in. And he's insanely strong, by the way, so once he does have something locked in, it's really hard to fight the hands, do anything really with his weight on your back. More shots, some hammer fists here on Kumaru Usman. Again, this time he gets a little bit high. He's sliding off Kumaru Usman slightly. He's pushed up a little bit, but again, still controlling him. Great balance for someone as big and strong as Khamzat. Threatening a submission hold. It wasn't underneath the chin, so Kumaru Usman's like, okay, I can still get up from this. You know what I mean? Kumaru Usman is onto his feet right now, but now the grip has gotten a little bit tighter. Khamzat's got a different choke in. Kumaru's not feeling the most confident right now. Now he's really feeling uncomfortable. He's got a full body lock. Khamzat Chimaev's on your back with a minute and 46 seconds left. Has a tight hold on him. Kumaru Usman goes for a Hail Mary really, really soon. Yeah, at this point, Kumaru Usman knew he didn't do something, and he just spikes. He just falls forwards, spikes Khamzat's head against the cage, the floor of the cage, and he does the same thing to himself. If you rewatch it, Kumaru Usman does end up headbutting the ground himself as well. Khamzat maintains control, has his back, continues to have his back till the round ends. Once he has your back, it's almost impossible to get him off of you. And that's why Khamzat Chimaev always goes for it, because he knows how difficult it is. It wears his opponents down. It wears him down slightly as well, but not as to the same extent as his opponent would be, having to carry his weight around, find the submissions, fighting the ground and pound, trying to not get flattened out while also trying to get back to their feet, you know what I mean? It's almost a given that you're going to lose a round if this happens. And if this happens to Robert Whittaker, just write the first round or the first 2 rounds off of on your scorecard, like pre-write them. Khamzat's winning. I think the first round he takes down Robert Whittaker, does to him something similar to what he did to Usman. It's just a question of if Robert Whittaker can defend the submissions. Anyway, starts. This is the second round. I'm just gonna be showing you how Khamzat Chimaev destroys his opponents as opposed to the entire fights. The first few I showed you the entire fights because they lasted about 2 minutes each. Here, halfway through the second round, Khamzat Chimaev goes for a kick. Khamzat Chimaev actually has a underrated kicks to me, in my opinion. Obviously, his striking isn't the best, but he has some powerful kicks in his arsenal that he throws it from a distance because he knows there's no threat of someone taking him down. And I'll show you more on that later in the last fight I do after this one. Leg kick again. He wants his opponents to get into kicking range with him and kick him back because he knows what happens afterwards. Again, just going for more shots, more kicks. Leg kicks here. Goes for a head kick here. Usman closes the gap himself. This is really pixelated. Usman throws a leg kick of his own. And then eventually, at 45 seconds, at this point I would say Usman was winning on the feet slightly, in my opinion. Khamzat, this is the option he always has. If he's losing a round towards the end of rounds, he can always go for a takedown, and especially in like countries that are favorable to him, they'll give him the round. If it's close enough and he gets a takedown, they'll give him the round. So Robert Whittaker is going to watch out for the fact that Khamzat Chimaev will be trying to close out rounds with takedown attempts. And then in the rounds that he is tied, he'll probably try to strike on the feet. And Whittaker needs a finish in those situations. Kumaru Usman has a full body. Like, he grabs his entire body with his arms, pulls him down. Not a guillotine or anything. He isn't underneath the chin or anything like that. He's actually like around this area. Defends it well, holds onto it for the majority of the remainder of the round. Until Khamzat finally pulls out of it. Nothing more happens. That was the second round. The third round, I think Kumaru Usman won. Khamzat had some decent takedown attempts there, but his takedowns usually got stuffed. So that's a problem with Khamzat Chimaev's game. His gas tank is still questionable, and while he has some of the most intense takedowns in the game, to be honest, like he'll go for a finish off of his takedowns in the first round, the longevity and the durability of that ability is in question, you know what I mean? Like, he can't do that forever. Gilbert Burns, body kick. Right hand. I'm just going to go to this real quick because it's real blurry at the start. Goes for a takedown attempt on Gilbert Burns. Gilbert defends it against the cage, balancing. Now comes out and then reset in the middle of the cage. Comes out, shoots in has another crack at it. Gets one of his legs off the ground. And then gets Durinho to his knees finally. And then finally gets him down. Tries to take his back like he does to everyone. Has his back. Can't do the same thing to Durinho that he can do to other people just because of Durinho's high-level Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. But look at this. He takes him down. He does not want to be in the guard with Durinho Burns. He wants his back, and his back specifically. Anything else, he feels like he's in a disadvantage here. The same thing won't be happening with Robert Whittaker. I don't think he will be fearful of Robert Whittaker's ground game. But, you know, after a while, Khamzat Chimaev gets Durinho to get back up on his feet. Burns gets back up, complies. They start fighting again. Durinho lands a good left hand, like it was a looping left hand. And look at Khamzat Chimaev's like entire body. He's just like, whoa, you know what I mean? The thing with Khamzat Chimaev is his striking is not that high. Like, he's good enough that he can threaten with the takedowns, and it gets better when you factor in the threat of the takedowns. But in general, his striking isn't all that. A little bit wild, to be honest. Gilbert Burns also a bit wild, as you can see over here. Gilbert Burns landing another right hand. A more skillful striker can find the chin of Khamzat Chimaev in these situations where his arms are flailing, he's just attacking with both hands, he's throwing a punch and he's like loading his other hand up to throw that punch before his other hand comes back to his chin to defend. Someone like Whittaker could find his chin, but the way Khamzat Chimaev destroys some of his opponents, he's got a good chin. We found out at 170 he had a good chin, he'll have a good chin at 180. I know the power is different, but Chimaev is filled out more, and likely has a better chin at 185 than he has at 170. Due to not having a weight cut. Durinho again, striking, jabbing at Khamzat Chimaev, throwing strikes to Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev throwing some right hands back at him. Leg kicks again, like I said. He has some decent kicks, don't get mentioned enough. Jabs, Another body kick, wants Dorino to fire back. I don't think, in this fight, Khamzat Chimaev got a little bit reckless, I do want to say. The reason I saved this fight for the very, very, very end is because, and I didn't go chronologically like the others, is because, it was the hardest fight he's had, I would say. It was the most reckless he was, and it was the one time he didn't go for his takedown approach as much as he usually would. So while Khamzat Chimaev has destroyed most of his opponents, in this case, I think he's better than Burns, but I just feel like he just got into maybe it was an ego thing, or maybe just scared of his jiu-jitsu, but he did not destroy Burns, in my opinion. A jab, a real strong jab, by the way, like from his right hand, a massive jab. And also one more thing, Khamzat Chimaev, as you can see, is like, some of these situations has his left leg as his lead leg. In other situations has his right leg. He's actually quite good at switching stances when he takes too many leg kicks. He'll switch stances. A factor of, again, his striking is never really brought up, but he has good striking. And one more thing about Khamzat Chimaev is he has very linear striking. Like, it's very straightforward striking. The jab, 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 the overhand right. There's not like much angles that he attacks you from. So while he is destroying a lot of his opponents that are better strikers than him with his wrestling, the better grapplers he can always overpower with his strength, his power, his striking, which isn't too bad, but it is one-dimensional in some ways, I would say. That jab, by the way, drops Dorino Burns, which is kind of crazy. Goes for a finish on him. Dorino fires back with hammer fists of his own, and that was the first round. Khamzat Chimaev won the round. Second round. Not much I want to show you from the second round. I thought Gilbert Burns won the second round personally, but some of his takedown defense. Dorino Burns not the highest level wrestler, but he could ragdoll Woodley, so there's that. Goes for a takedown. Khamzat Chimaev barely budges. Like, he doesn't even move him almost from the position that he's standing at. Just so strong. Such a strong base as well. Hard to move, dude. Just gets out of it pretty easily. Dorino commits to it. Khamzat Chimaev reverses into like a DAS attempt. Dorino gets out of it eventually. And then I'll show you the end of the second round where Dorino Burns lands a right hand. Wobbles Khamzat. Khamzat Chimaev keeps firing. This is what I'm talking about. The stupidity of Khamzat in this fight. Just too eager to strike, in my opinion. Even after getting wobbled, continues to strike with Dorino. Gets caught one more time with that right hand. Gets dropped. And once he gets dropped, he's like, holy shit, I've just lost the round. Immediately goes for a takedown attempt. Like he should have done when he first got dropped, in my opinion. Anyway, the third round. This jab is crisp. Single, one-dimensional, straightforward. Robert Whittaker, I think, has to use his in and out game to avoid them, as well as he uses his own angles to confuse Khamzat Chimaev. You know, go left, right, laterally. Throw head kicks from different angles. Make Khamzat Chimaev dip his head to the left, like I said he does. Throws his jab. Throws his right hand, dips his head to the left. Maybe we're going to go for a head kick in that situation. Which I can see, to be honest. Another jab here. Dorino fires back his own shots. As you can see here, Khamzat Chimaev here dipping his head to the left. Continue to fight another jab. Another jab misses from Dorino. Comes out with a shot to the body, I believe. Has Dorino against the cage, and he's just pounding away. But again, this video is Khamzat Chimaev destroying all of his opponents. But what it really is, though, is just an analysis of Khamzat Chimaev's skill set. And just a refresher of everyone's memory. Because for some reason, UFC just aren't giving us a Ilya Topuria, Max Holloway-esque interview between Khamzat and Whittaker. So I'm just refreshing your memory and just showing you what he's done so far. Right hand, left hand. Kind of wild brawl here, as you can see. Not, like, he has a good like, he has his hand up right here. But here, like, he's just getting ready to just fire shots. Dorino sadly doesn't have enough space right now to be able to fire a big overhand. But, look, still not much space. Eventually goes for a takedown attempt. Dorino defends it. Striking with Dorino. Left hand. Going a little bit wild. Dorino's going a bit wild himself. But no, Khamzat Chimaev is showing good defense now in this moment. He's the less tired of the two. It'd be interesting to see how he does, again, in a 5-rounder if the fight goes past the 3rd round. And the guy he's fighting, Robert Whittaker, has such a high level of 5-round experience and doesn't gas out that easily. We'll see. But Khamzat Chimaev does have power enough to KO Robert Whittaker if his chin isn't fully there. As have you seen, Robert Whittaker has been KO'd by Izzy, has been KO'd by Dricus du Plessis, has been rocked by Paulo Costa, has been dropped by Cannonier, I believe, has been dropped by Darren Till. Maybe Khamzat Chimaev just has more power than we've ever seen before. I mean, he's significantly better than Darren Till. Not in terms of as a striker, but in terms of just like a power puncher, I would take Khamzat Chimaev. Again, the right hand. A little bit wild exchange. Again, they're both firing back at each other. Left hand from Dorino. Khamzat Chimaev is showing some good defense, having his hand up to his chin, up to his head. Defending pretty well in all honesty. Right hand from Khamzat, left hand from Khamzat. Decent striking here. Moving in, dipping his head to the left slightly. I know it's hard to tell with the frames and all that. Right hand, again, switching stances in some ways. Like, he will switch stances throughout a fight. I wish I mentioned it a bit more throughout this video, but especially in the Usman fight. But in the most part, he hasn't had much chance to do it in this, from like the first 3 fights, where they all lasted like 2 minutes most. Right hand, right hand. Junior fires back a right hand back from Chimaev. Again, he is leaning forward with his chin a lot. Like, someone can catch him. Like, if someone like steps out of the way of his jab and then just fires back with a massive right hand, they can catch him. I don't think Gilbert Burns' striking is high level enough for it. But, you know, a left hand, a right hand misses. Good place to see. Khamzat Chimaev dipping his head to the left. Gilbert Burns, straight line right hand, misses on Khamzat Chimaev. Khamzat Chimaev on the other hand also misses. Teeing off on Gilbert Burns slightly. And that's the end of the video, I suppose. That's the end. I didn't realize that was going to be the end. But anyway, that was the entire video. That's how Khamzat Chimaev destroys his opponents. As you can see, for the most part, he hasn't had much long fights. If you're not a good grappler, he will immediately take you down, control you, finish you off. But he's at middleweight now. Maybe they're stronger. He can start the takedowns. But you could imagine Khamzat Chimaev is also stronger himself. He will find the KO on you just from making you hesitant. So the one thing with... Please watch the end of this video. I'm saying some really smart stuff right now. If you're too hesitant with Khamzat Chimaev, right? You gotta just see in like the Kumaru Usman fight. Oh, sorry, the Kumaru Usman fight? No, not the Kumaru Usman fight. But the thing with Khamzat Chimaev is, if you're too hesitant and looking out for the takedown too much, you'll back off, which will give you Khamzat Chimaev enough time to push you against the cage and land that overhand right hand. But that's not the only thing he has to go for. If you're against the cage, he can easily trap you and go for a single leg. He hasn't shown that too much so far, but that's always an option. And the reason he hasn't shown that so far is because when you're against the cage, he's usually already got you in like a single leg, pushing against the cage, trying to take you down, tripping you up, taking you back. You know what I mean? That's why. But he always has that option. If you're too hesitant in the early rounds, Khamzat Chimaev will attack you. Usman had way more success later on in the fight once he started being aggressive, realized Khamzat Chimaev was tired. You have to survive the first 2 rounds. The first round especially, no matter what Whittaker does, I just can't imagine Khamzat Chimaev doesn't have like hooks around of him in the first round. Is threatening some like submissions and stuff. Try to finish him off. Yeah, and that's how Khamzat Chimaev destroys his opponents. Good striking, linear striking, not many looping shots. Has more kicks in his games than you would think. Some teep kicks, leg kicks, body kicks. He has some kicks, not as many head kicks I would like. The takedowns, he shoots wide. He shoots from a distance just because he wants your leg and he doesn't care about having the hold of your hips initially because he knows he can build up to it. Am I missing something? That's Khamzat Chimaev's game. Whittaker has to stay at a distance. Hope that Khamzat Chimaev does shoot a long takedown. Catch him with an uppercut. That's what he's going to be training. Uppercuts and takedown defense. If he doesn't catch him with an uppercut, immediately defend the takedown. Don't be one of those people that just start throwing like punches and stuff and lose your balance. Defend the takedown, push him off you, get a grip of yourself, push away, and just survive the first round. Second round, we start mixing in some linear movement, left, right, confuse Khamzat Chimaev, feints here and there, shots to the body, head kicks. But yeah, I don't know who's going to win that fight so far. I will make a prediction next week. But that's how Khamzat Chimaev destroys all of his opponents, using the techniques and skills that I just mentioned. Have a good one. I'm at 45 subscribers, which is kind of crazy. Let's try to get me to 50, guys. Especially after my last 2 videos completely bombed like nothing that I've ever seen before. I'll see you next time. Like, share, subscribe. 45, road to 50. Get me there.